Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Saturday night recap here at the 2019 Tyyni.
Yes, we're finally here. The final day, the final night, the final nightly recap.
Wow, here we are. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, along with Tomas. Now, let's talk a little bit about, well, we are here to wrap things up, but let's talk about everything for just a moment that's outside of our main FPO and MPO battles that took place. Because when you took the stage to MC yet again another award ceremony, there were a lot of things going on, and we don't have to go through every single item on that list, on that agenda, but holy cow, so many things this week that we were all part of, thanks to the tremendous staff and crew. But let's highlight a few of those things before we get to the hardcore competition.
Well, the first thing we could start with is just that crazy amount of divisions that were played in this tournament during Tyyni 2019. The award ceremony took a really long time. It was an hour-long event, just because, well, there were so many divisions, there were so many people we wanted to thank, and also so many people who have played some very good golf to reach that podium place. I can't remember exactly, but if I count it right, we played in 12 divisions. No, it was more. I think it was 14 divisions that were played, and all of them were rewarded because of that phenomenal play that these players had to produce in the amateurs divisions to come to that podium place. What really surprised me about that, and here's a shout out, there were a lot of playoffs played in those amateur divisions. Almost, if I'm not completely mistaken, we had to solve the order of the players on the podium in 6 or 7 divisions by a playoff. So it's been really tight competition all week.
So sometimes 54 holes just isn't enough.
Yeah, and I mean,
but in addition to countless C tiers and other things and trilogy challenges and ace race type stuff and all the other things that were going on, 54 holes of actual A tier competition wasn't enough for some.
Well, we all enjoy the competition as disc golfers, and if I had the option to play a couple of more holes after the final one, I probably would like it.
Well, it was incredible, and I thought we were going to see a playoff in FPO. We'll talk about that in a few moments. We did see a playoff in MP50. I'm going to get a quick shout out to my good travel buddy and partner in Johnny Pecunia, who came from Germantown, Wisconsin. He has a PDGA number of 2540. So he is as old school as they get. He's been playing since he was a young man out in Connecticut, and now he's traveled internationally for the last year or so with a few events along with me. He won earlier in Thailand this year, and then he takes it down here in a playoff in dramatic fashion on hole number 1. So I got to get that shout out in. He's been just a tremendous travel partner, and he's like a dad to me. He's a really great guy.
He is. He has been really fun to talk to as well, and I was extremely happy to be there to announce him on stage to pick up his beautiful, gorgeous trophy. Remember when we started out, Johnny Rumble was visiting here.
Yep.
He saw that trophy and he said, "Now I really want one."
Yeah.
And now he really got one. So
he does.
Congratulations out to Johnny.
I think that's going to be lit up probably in the room we share tonight. I'm going to have to look at it all night long, but it's well deserved. So again, before the competition, there were also then we had a long drive that took place tonight, so we had some awards for long drives, and then you guys talked about a number of other, well, I hate to call them side events, but there were additional events, and then all the awards had to be done for that. There were raffles that were given away. People that utilized the Great Zuka program were also then they ultimately raffled off some Zukas that were used throughout the week. So a lot of things going on. And then, as you said multiple times, thanking the volunteers, thanking the spotters, thanking the tournament directors, the hashtag, give your TD a hug, all of those things reiterated as they had to be, because without all those tournament directors and without the staff and the crew, just clearly an event of this size just could not happen.
I fully agree. And my personal shout out goes to not only the TDs, but mostly to the volunteers. I've never seen so tired faces. Like, those guys looked exhausted at the end of the event, but it was definitely worth it for all of the players, hopefully also for the spectators. And while we were a while ago brushing on the amateur divisions, and while I've been really hoping to highlight a little bit more of the amateur action here, here's an interesting statistic. There were 6 aces thrown during the entire main event of the tournament. 5 of them were shot by amateur players. So there you go.
Yeah, who wants to be pro?
6 aces from 180,000.
Yeah, and that's another great statistic.
Yeah,
6 aces out of 180,000 plus throws.
184,000, a couple of hundred added to that one. Well, that was the total number of throws. So the percentage is not very high.
No. Well, it was... that was very interesting, and then we talked about it yesterday. More than 4,000 sanctioned rounds ultimately played, and then you talked about the distance walk that we would have circled. We've gotten halfway around the globe.
Yeah, if we're supposing that one round would be about 5 kilometers in length, and then we would tally up all of the PDGA sanctioned rounds played during Tyyni, that would sum up to a distance that is half around the globe, which is kind of a big number.
Yeah, no, that's very impressive. And then I think about me getting halfway back around the globe in a few days. It's been so much fun to be here. And like any big tournament, and you mentioned it on stage tonight, there's almost there's a little part of you that's kind of let down that it's over with. And I know everyone's going to collapse from exhaustion, and there's still cleanup, and there's still things to get done over the next few days, and then immediately people start thinking about next year. But the little piece of you is like, oh, this beautiful giant family reunion is coming to a close for this year. I
completely agree, and the reason I brought up it on stage there was I was looking at the people gathered here to the players' party, to the fly mart we're having here tonight. I was looking at those people, and I started thinking about the community of disc golfers, the whole disc golf scene, as you could probably call it. I was looking out there, and I was going like, dang, these guys are actually my friends, my disc golfing buddies, and there's so many of them, and I don't want them to go home.
No, exactly.
So let's enjoy tonight.
Exactly. Well, the festivities are still going on. There's people still running around during the Fly Mart. There's still a few vendors down there selling things. There's extra goodies that were down there that are exclusive. I may or may not bring a few back to the States, and
now that's a teaser.
Might make some of those available. We'll see. But I know there were some really special goodies that were released here tonight, which is very cool if you're looking for just that. And I know I might have gotten my hands on a few goodies earlier in the week, but I'll share that when I get back. Maybe Tuesday night podcast. We'll have to talk more about those. The play on the FPO and the MPO side. We'll start with FPO this morning. We saw them again. 9:10 was the tee off. They were here at the course that's literally located. Tee number 1 is no more than, I'll even use meters, less than 100 meters away. Probably less than even 50 meters away.
It is less than 50 meters away
from where we are sitting right now. So great to be here on the home course, so to speak. And I didn't know where it was going to go, and I was there filming every single shot. I, at one point, just threw my hands up. I was like, I have no idea who really wants this and who's going to win it. My only thought was the winner is going to have, I know this might sound silly, but the winner will have made the fewest mistakes, because there wasn't a lot of really aggressive play. There wasn't anybody, jumping way out and just kind of running off with things. It was really just a matter of course management and minimizing the mistakes. And that's how ultimately I feel like it was decided. And is it fair to say maybe a little bit of an upset here this weekend? Or no?
Yeah, possibly. In some sense. I mean, Kristin has been playing so solidly for this entire year. She already has some very big titles under her belt. So everybody was expecting her to do well, which she did. But she did not do well enough. I was privileged enough to have a discussion with all of the ladies in the lead card after the round. I would not call that an interview. We were having a chat.
Okay.
Just about how they were doing, and I could tell that Kristin was a little bit little bit maybe disappointed with her own game. She said that she played well, but she didn't play as well as she wanted to, and therefore she was left one stroke short of the title to Jenni Eskelinen. From Finland. I think she won the FPO European Championship back in 2014, and she has been a fierce competitor ever since. And it was so awesome to watch her battle it out today. I found it interesting when you said that Mistake Free was the name of the game today. When I was commentating, you can also go check out that feed. If you're seeing this, it's you can find it on YouTube, and witness all of the battle going on. But the order of the lead card ladies, like who's first, who's second, who's third, it changed every hole.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not every hole, but almost
yes.
every single hole. And what I felt like is that normally when we go out to play disc golf, say first round, second round, the players are competing against the course. They're just trying to, get themselves to prime position for that final day. And then when the final day comes, they start battling against each other. So it's a player versus player kind of a game.
Correct. Almost like a match play as opposed to just you against the course.
Exactly.
You see that sometimes.
And I think that was very evident with the ladies today, because the reason the scores probably weren't as hot as they could have been was that all of them were just trying to outperform the next threat.
Sure. Yep.
Instead of just going all out and trying to attack the course. And that was exciting, to say the least.
Well, and I feel like exactly that for a moment when it really felt like Luca had the momentum. It felt like things were going in her favor, and then she kind of ran into a hole where she had a lot of trouble, and then fell way back. And then next thing you know, Kristen was right there. It looked like she was ready to strike. It was just they just kept jostling is the word I would use, just back and forth. And I really had no idea who ultimately was going to take it away. And I only say a potential upset. I don't know Jenni's game nearly as much as I know Kristen's because she's been to the U.S. I just know that Kristen came in as the highest rated woman. So just sheer math would tell you she might be the favorite here. And it was great to see this great battle unfold. And it came all the way down to the final hole. And there was a little bit of drama and a little bit of gamesmanship back and forth even there on the final hole. So congratulations. Congrats to all of our top performers and all of the women, a solid field of 16 women out here this weekend that were competing throughout the 3 days. But when it was all said and done, like you said, Jenni ultimately becomes our champion. She then graciously gave me an interview afterwards, and she had said in English, I said, I don't know any other languages, so unfortunately it's either going to be your English, which is going to be better than me in any other language. So she was very gracious, and it was very awesome to see.
There's actually a couple of pretty cool details about today. Heidi Laine, who eventually took third.
Yep.
She's been playing this entire tournament and actually this entire year with a really serious knee injury.
Yeah, she was wearing a brace.
She was wearing a brace the entire time, and despite that, I mean, talking to her, I found out that doctors are recommending that she go operate that knee like now, and she said, yeah, okay, that's fine, but after Tyyni. And she just refused, and she wanted to play here, so she played with the brace, and she ended up taking third place.
Okay.
Which is pretty awesome for me in the FPO field. Furthermore, when I was talking with her, she said that she's been working extremely hard on her physical conditioning, which has been a theme here now with Seth Munsey and all of that, and said that really helped her to develop a lot more power in her throw, which was very evident today in that play. And one final shout out before moving forward in this is that I was chatting with Jenni after her victory, and she said that she was so excited and so full of adrenaline, and actually that she was feeling kind of nervous going into the last hole, knowing that Kristen is so near behind her that her hands were apparently shaking already like 25 minutes after the round ended, and her hands were still shaking because she was just so excited and so pumped.
And you will see it again either in the live if you want to go back and take a look at that, or in post, that she left herself a little bit of a tester putt. She had to hit that final putt to win it, and you could sense every bit of her just kind of wound up. Of course, excited yet emotional, nervous. She probably just had so many thoughts flooding over her her at the moment. It was really great to see. And again, I know Kristen's game really probably of all the women competitors that were here, I know her game the best. So to see someone come and compete with her and know that Kristen's as good as she is, and to have Tyyni, not succumb to the pressures, it was very exciting to see. So congratulations for sure. And also I know that her and her sister, Heidi, as you were talking earlier, funny fact that they tied in the distance competition.
Oh yeah.
Her sister told me that her best was around 103 previously. They both threw 91 meters tonight. Meanwhile, Heidi had said that her previous best was like 132. So she definitely has some good distance out there too. As I'm kind of tying up the FPO thought process there. So, all right, let's move to MPO, where you were much more in tune. I was out kind of taking in the MP50 action. You were fully in tune. What did we see on the MPO side?
Surprises. That's the first thing I would go.
Were any your predictions were wrong?
Yeah, actually.
Oh no!
Actually, my predictions were wrong.
Give me a new host. Excuse me. new.
But there's a fun fact. I have to share this with you. I was talking earlier today with Janne Hirsimäki.
Okay.
He came and he gave me a friendly, quite powerful pat on the back, and said that, "Yep, you did forget me." I was going, "Yep, that's right. Sorry, buddy." And then we were talking back and forth, and I found out who the players were that he went out to the course with. And as we talked, this is the kind of course here at Sibbe that plays extremely well for what Janne calls Seppo golf.
Okay.
So as we were talking about that, Seppo should be doing fairly well here. Janne should be doing fairly well here. And he was going out with 3 junior-aged MPO players, with him being Masters-aged and still playing MPO.
Wow.
So he went out there as the old guy with these 3 young guns. And all of these 3 young guns were shooting the hot round today in that same card. They were climbing up the leaderboard to be in the top 10 already, these same ones, while as Janne had slightly on off day playing 1 over par today.
Okay, so it seemed as if the course was giving up plenty of strokes out there. Yeah. This was the first time that I had seen the course in its entirety, and I don't want to say I was surprised, but it was a little, in watching the FPOs play and how they were attacking the course, I thought for sure the MPOs would be able just to devour it. I saw where the strengths and weaknesses were, from some of our FPO players, and then knowing what the caliber of players we have on the other side, I really thought that they would just devour it. And a few of them did, but maybe not quite as hot a scores as I was expecting today.
No, and I think it's the fatigue probably from the couple of last days, because playing this one last still requires you to throw quite powerful shots, but you need to be on the fairway, because the roughs here are not very forgiving. You need to be able to throw really good shots if you're going away from the open spots on those fairways. And that is one recurring theme we were witnessing as we were watching the MPO play, that as soon as you hit a good drive, as soon as you hit your line, these guys were killing it out there. Okay. But as soon as they are off even a little bit to one side or another, then the trees come in. And because those kicks are quite unpredictable, some of them super unlucky, some of them more fortunate to these players. And I think that was the real key behind the scoring today.
Well, and speaking of the kicks, I was thinking about not just the trees, but I'd say a pro tip. If you're coming out here to play, bring a disc or two that you don't mind getting scuffed up, or maybe are a little more resistant to scuffing. There are a lot of rocks out here.
Yes.
And it's on a very rocky terrain. You guys probably, I'm sure, have a fancy word for it.
Not really.
No,
It's just
okay.
rocky terrain.
It's just very rocky terrain out here, and you're in for a little bit of a hike. I mean, this has a lot of elevation,
Yes.
up and down, and then there are so many really, really dangerous greens when it comes to your putting. And I think back to what I saw on hole 17 and a putt that Kristen made, which was just incredible. But there are some really dangerous greens, and the main green where Luca had trouble there is because of a rock green, so to speak, where the basket is mounted on that, and she hit a few times and rolled away. Like, those are real round busters.
And that is, Luque is not the only one suffering from that phenomena today, because as we were watching the lead card of the MPO side play, there were a couple of pretty unfortunate putting mishaps, and that was not because of the skill level of these players. It was because of bad breaks.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume if you guys come out here and play in any format, recreationally or competitively, you're somewhat accounting for some of those bad breaks. Like, they're going to happen to anyone, no matter how good you are. And I kind of equate it to like De La Viega.
Yep.
In California. Like, no matter how good you are, no matter how well you can place a shot, once in a while you're going to hit at just the wrong angle, and it's going to get up and roll, and it may roll 30 or 40 or 60 feet.
Exactly.
Or 10 or 20
You're
or
talking
30
about
meters.
that pro tip for players maybe wanting to come play here, hopefully wanting to come and play here. I have another pro tip for you also. Bring a soft plastic approach putter, because that is also going to help you here. Sometimes these players today, when they were throwing their premium plastic putters on their upshots, they would hit the perfect spot, just the perfect spot. But then, because we are, as you said, in a fairly rocky terrain, some of those skips would not go in the direction the players were suspecting them to go, and sometimes they were even quite long, leaving these guys, for example, landing just short of the basket, but ending outside of circle one with one skip only.
Yeah, I could see that. Now, the last point on the course that I wanted to clarify, and we talked about the terrain and then what disc you need to bring. If you came out here and played next week, how many holes are there?
23
holes. That's what
holes
would have been my guess. 23.
in the normal
Where
layout.
does that number come from?
The space,
Okay.
actually, what is available here.
Sure.
We're trying to, or Juha is doing an excellent job here, trying to give the players as much to enjoy as possible in practice. In fact, 17 out of the 18 holes that we were playing today here during the final round at Sibbe are permanent layout holes.
Okay, yeah.
So only hole 18, where we saw some drama unfold for both actually MPO and FPO. That is the only temporary course here out at Sibbe. All of the others are part of the normal course layout.
And I only ask because, of course, when you get to a certain hole, all of a sudden it doesn't match up with what you were playing, and you're on hole 16, but you're really playing hole 12 or whatever the case might be. And then a few people had remarked on my Instagram or wherever saying, how many holes are they playing, what course layout, those types of things. But ultimately, for the event, 18-hole layout on a regular day, if you came out here, you would see 17 of those same holes plus then six others.
Yes.
And you would see a 23-hole layout.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I just wanted to clarify because it sounded like a few people had some insights and some really valid questions that then started I started wondering.
We talked already about the importance of staying on the fairway when we're here. And therefore, I'd like to mention a couple of things I was noticing when we were following the MPO around. Simon Lizotte did not have a hot round today. Simon was actually struggling ever so slightly in here, and he's a game, or let's say the biggest problems he was facing in his game, he was throwing really good shots all the time, but his release point was off with less than an inch or so. But in here, it means that when he's throwing his premium plastic putters and mid-ranges, on considering the length of these holes, the kicks he gets are much more demanding, or they penalize him a little bit more for being just slightly off. And what I noticed, interestingly, was that Eagle and Leo Piironen, who are playing in the lead card, they changed to like softer plastic putters sometime during the round. I don't know if it was their plan all along or not, but I could definitely see them going with the standard plastic type of discs, whereas Simon was throwing his I don't know if I'm guessing it's a P2 in some sort of a premium plastic.
Sure. Well, and it's funny you say that, because when I did see Simon for the first time after he, I'll say, tin cupped hole number 18.
Yep.
Shortly after that, I said, well, what was going on today? And he just said, he goes, I didn't play bad. You know, he got a lot of unlucky breaks, or maybe breaks that, could have went one way or another, and then, obviously didn't go his way today. So that very much coincides with what you're saying. So with all of that being said, when we add up all those parts and pieces and those little details, the man that withdrew from the tournament last weekend flies halfway around the world, comes here, finishes the tournament in style and in first place fashion, and of course that's Eagle McMahon. How incredible!
That was incredible. And now, unfortunately, we don't have the UDisc data to show you, but it is still available. And when I was checking out the scores today, I think the key thing that really stuck out to me here at Sibbe was that Eagle, our eventual winner, with a 3-stroke margin over Eric Oakley, he played bogey-free today. Being one of very few players to go bogey-free today, including people who eventually ended up on podium place.
Wow, okay. Well, and I will take a quick look. We're going to cheat. I don't have my computer handy, so excuse me for looking down at our phones. But Eagle, to give a few details, as you mentioned, finished the tournament with 4 consecutive birdies, 15 through 18. He finished 10 down on the round with a total of 25 under overall. And Eric Oakley also managed to say without any blemishes on the scorecard. He shot an 8 under bogey free.
Yep.
And so very impressive. Nicholas is that Nicholas ended up with 11 birdies and just a single bogey when he pushed himself up 9 positions into third place.
Yes.
So to hop onto that podium. Very impressive.
And also, he's a young guy.
Yep.
He's junior aged.
I was gonna say, how old? Like
I'm gonna have to check, but I would say somewhere along 16 maybe.
Wow. Incredible.
Very young. Very young. And
incredible.
he tied with Eagle for the hot round today with 10 under, which was in my books a very impressive thing to do.
Yeah, I think anytime, I don't care what kind of day Eagle's having, anytime you tie him for a round, you definitely, that's something to hang your hat on for sure. So very, very impressive. I'll let you guys in on a little secret that if last year I was at the Ledgestone Insurance Open, and Chris Finn from Dude had made $100. I don't know how many euros that is, 100 or maybe 89 euros or so. $100 wager with me that we would have a world champion from somewhere other than the U.S. in the next 3 years. And I will say, after visiting here and seeing the level of play that I saw this weekend, and I know that's just a little taste of it, my bet, I think, still is I'm okay with my bet, because I have last year, this year, and next year yet, but I wouldn't extend it past that, because the level of play and the professionalism I talked about a few days ago, and the competitors that are out here at such young ages, it's honestly, it's kind of scary. And I always think, man, some of our U.S. competitors better hope that more players don't just come over, because they're going to be giving them a run for their money, and it's going to be happening very soon.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get a little bit sidetracked here, because I'm really proud of the development that disc golf has taken in Finland. I mean, disc golf has been around for a very, very long time in Finland already, but it was sort of a smaller hobby or a smaller sport, not that popular, or not equally, or not even close to being as popular as it is these days. And the way the sport has been growing here, and the level of play has been growing here, has been nothing sort of impressive. And therefore, I'm super proud of that thing. And I'm probably pulling a little bit homeward when I say this, but we have Henna Blomroos together with with now I'm blacking out with Evelina, of course,
Yep.
Evelina Salonen,
Yep.
traveling to the States this year, and just killing it out there, in style. And I think that is just a taste of what is about to come. Even Eagle today, when he was interviewed by the Finnish news media to a TV broadcast from one of our local channels here, even he said that he's so impressed with the level of competition here. Yeah, I'm going to say it out loud. I think Finland is developing. If we aren't that yet, we will be sometime in the near future a disc golfing superpower.
Oh, as you have said, I completely agree with what you just said. There's no doubt about it. It is very... I just can't say it enough, the gratitude that I have for the experience to come here, thanks to running into Juha at the Glass Blown Open earlier this year under some random circumstances. But the chance of running into him and then having the opportunity to come here and now to see all of this for myself just gives me so much more background of really what's to come. Juha, do you recall that night?
Yeah, it's like there was a TV show that said that not any good ideas come, not any good decisions are made after 2 a.m.
Yes, yeah.
But
well,
I think that was a good decision.
Okay, it was.
It was a random situation.
It was very
Totally
random.
random.
And the short story was I was in a very 100% sober way driving home from one of the GBO activities. There was a gentleman who was not sober, kind of staggering along one of the main roads.
Who was not Juha, by the way?
Who was not Juha. But I pulled over. I said, "Hey, get in. I'm going to take you to your hotel. Where do you need to go?" I brought him back to the roadway, which isn't where I was staying. I dropped him off, and as I was dropping him off, that's when Juha, I had gotten out of the car, and he said, "When are you going to come to Finland and film disc golf?" I'm like, "As soon as someone wants to have me there." He said, "Well, let's make it happen." And that's pretty much how it happened.
Yeah, and here we are.
I am.
And here we are.
So thank you, and thank you for that. So let's wrap up on that good note. You kind of just touched on, again, going with the spirit of the growth and the progression and everything that's happening. So that's so good and great here in Finland. You had other media crews besides SM and besides myself out here today and yourself, other media crews out here. Talk about how the country truly embraces what we're seeing in this growth of disc golf.
Yeah, we had two of the largest Finnish national news broadcasters here. The Finnish, what do you call that? YLE is our national broadcast company, and then our biggest, or actually I think second biggest commercial broadcasting company now, and they both brought their camera crews here to follow the action as well and reported on the daily news. And I think we've seen at least 4 clips today in the national media just about the Tyyni 2019, giving Eagle his credit, and also giving some very good visibility not only to disc golfing in Finland, but also really pointing out how big disc golf is becoming as a sport here in Finland, not only on the professional level, but also on the everyday recreational level.
Well, and I think of every time, now this could date back 5 or 10 or 20 years ago, anytime you see discs and a disc golf story on any kind of news, nightly news or small news, national news, whatever, it always gives you that sense of, like, wow, disc golf is going somewhere. Disc golf is getting bigger. Look at, like, you can share with your friends who don't know what you're talking about sometimes. Be like, look, like, it was on the news. Like, we're making it or we're growing. And to have it on your national news and to have such prestigious people come out and care. And then to have you guys as a staff and crew huddled around a phone watching it and seeing how excited that we all are, because it's getting just that. It's the exposure that we all want. It gives me goosebumps when I see it, and I've been seeing disc golf on, news channels for years, but it still excites me every single time I see it.
I have to tell an anecdote about this because it was very nice. I was visiting one city about 100 miles away from Helsinki, and there was a person who recognized the brand I was wearing to be disc golf. This elderly lady stopped me at the grocery store to tell me that, hey, if you didn't know it already, we are installing 4 new baskets next to that school right there. Have you tried it yet?
Awesome.
And I was going like, yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is going places.
Well, it is, and Natural Born Disc Golfer and so many others here, all with boots on the ground, doing so much good work here. It's been a pretty incredible experience to be taking it all in this week. So, any parting shots before we close things out and call it a wraps here on the week? Well, from our media perspective, at least.
I'm gonna reiterate what I said on stage already. I am exhausted, but happy. And at the same time, I was kind of wishing we could do this for a couple of more days because it's been so much fun. In particular, following those lead cards, battle it out, being able to bring that action to so many viewers, receiving so many comments, also from the United States side. It's been just fantastic and amazing, and I can't wait to do this again after I've slept like 48 hours in a row.
Well, I think everyone needs some good rest and relaxation. I know I've clearly caught something. Hopefully, I'm sure 10 hours in a plane will clear that right up in the next couple of days.
Oh,
but,
of course.
I'll get through it. It was all worth it to be here for this experience, my first time in Finland, and to experience everything that I did. Thank you so much, Thomas, for everything this week. And of course, our staff and crew, Juha, who I mentioned and talked about extensively earlier, is just such a great stand-up human and all-around ambassador and promoter, and Gabriel and the rest of the staff and crew and the volunteers. And then, as we always say, this wouldn't happen without the competitors themselves. Nearly 1,000 people, 16 different countries represented, 4,000 plus PDGA rounds.
It's mind-boggling.
It really is. It's mind-blowing and boggling, and looking forward to downloading the app again next year to make sure that you have all the latest and greatest updates. Is there a date set? Do we talk about a date?
No.
We'll tell them
We
to put them on
won't.
their calendar right now. No. Okay. Not a date yet.
Oh,
there will be.
you cannot tell, so stay tuned for...
He's going 3 times bigger.
You want spoilers?
Spoilers.
Yes, yes, yes.
Exclusives. Teasers.
Most likely we will do something that no one has done ever before.
Oh.
I like this guy.
I like it. Well,
I know that even at GBO they won't do the same.
okay.
Boom, you heard it here first.
Well, you did. And with that, thank you to Dynamic Disc, of course, Westside and Latitude 64 for all their tremendous support, along with Natural Born Disc Golfer. For Thomas and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, thank you guys for tuning in for our nightly recaps. We hope that you enjoyed them, a little bit of a different format than what I'm used to having on the channel, but I was so glad to do so, and you've been just a tremendous co-host, and then out there killing it on the commentary. I'm already worried he's going to take my job like some other never mind. All right, guys, we're signing out. This is 2019 Tyyni. Thank you, and we'll see you next year.
See ya.